There's over 1,500 realtors in Halifax, so if you're looking to sell your home, how do you know which one is the right fit for you? I'm here to tell you that you might not be the right fit for every agent out there, but that's okay. There is a right fit for everybody out there. So in the real estate industry, there are a ton of different personality types, a ton of levels of experience, and that's okay because as a consumer, there's a lot of different personality types as well. So if you're looking to sell your home, how do you find out who's the right fit for you? Well, starting with these 10 questions is a fantastic idea, and it will not only lead to you making an easier decision, but it will also help you to make a smarter decision when you're looking to hire a realtor. Now, before I get into it, if you like this content and you want to see more, please click the like and subscribe to my channel. I post videos every week on YouTube about the Halifax real estate market and buyer and seller tips. Also, if you want to book a call or a meeting with me anytime, you can do so in the Calendly link below in my description at a time when it's convenient for you. So getting right into it, question number 1 is, what are they going to provide? So marketing matters. The way you list a home matters. It's not just as easy as sticking a few cell phone pictures up on MLS and sticking a sign on the ground and hoping it's going to sell. So what is that agent going to provide you in terms of marketing? Some things I would suggest asking for would be professional pictures, floor plans, video, digital marketing, and staging would be kind of the top 5 that I would consider. So this leads me right into my second question. So question number 2, how much do I pay you? So there are a ton of different options out there. I would suggest that the industry standard is somewhere about 4 to 5% of the purchase price, but again, it can vary. A big aspect that's going to determine this is, what is your agent providing? So all those marketing things I just talked about in question number 1, what is the agent providing? So for example, somebody might list it for 3% of the purchase price, but they might not offer professional video, pictures, digital marketing, staging, and so on. And those things really do make a difference in what you're going to net out at the end of the sale. So again, there's a model out there for everybody depending on your situation, but I urge you, when you're talking about realtor fees, to consider what the net dollars in your pocket is at the end of the day. So for example, if somebody's charging 5% on a $500,000 purchase price and somebody's charging 3%, well, if you go with the 5% person, but all that extra marketing and staging and so on that they did is going to net you an extra 4% on your purchase price, well, then you just made an extra 2% on $500,000, and at the end of the day, that's an extra $10,000 in your pocket. At the end of the day, as a consumer, the only real number you should be focused on is the net earnings, because that's what's going to be in your pocket at the end of the sale. So in my opinion, all those things that we discussed in question number 1, they do make a difference. They make a difference in your overall exposure of the property, how it shows, how it presents, and in my opinion, your net earnings at the end of the transaction. Moving on to question number 3, what is your list to sale price ratio? So this basically breaks down to what is the ratio between your sales price and your listing price. So your agent that you're hiring or interviewing should be able to provide you with the industry average in your area or in your region, and you should see how theirs stacks up to the competition. So now we're on to question 4. How many homes do you sell in a year? So according to the National Association of Realtors, the number is right around 6 on average. So I will say this, I've sold about 65 or more homes in the last couple of years, but in terms of experience, it's not necessarily the amount of years you've been in the business, it's about the amount of deals you've done or the amount of sales that you have represented buyers and sellers on. To be honest, I've worked with some great realtors that only sell about 5 to 10 homes a year, and I've worked with some that sell over 50 homes a year that quite frankly do not do a great job for their clients. So it's not the be all end all, and let's face it, every great realtor at one point was inexperienced, and they were given a chance by a buyer or a seller to, make their mark on the industry and get their feet wet and get some experience. So it's not the be all end all, but you want to make sure you're with somebody that has enough experience that they're going to do a good job representing you and your best interest as a seller. To be very upfront, the real estate industry is like every other industry. There are some great realtors, some terrible ones, and everything in between. So that's why you need to ask these questions in the first place, to figure out who to hire. So moving on to question 5, what percentage of your listings actually sell? So it's one thing for a realtor to say they listed 50 homes in a year, but if only 30 of them sell, that isn't a great track record. So you want to ask them what percentage of their listings actually sell. So on to question number 6, how many years have you been a realtor? Now, I will say this, experience matters, but this question is not a catch-all. There are some great new realtors out there, and at one time I was a new realtor, and every other great realtor I know was also a new realtor. The big thing here that you want to know is this person equipped to represent you and your best interest, because at the end of the day, that's what you're paying them for. So if you are hiring a newer agent, I would suggest just asking them, do you have somebody mentoring you in your office, or what's your relationship with your broker like, and how experienced is their broker? Because you want to know they have some help on the back end. And again, I'm not saying don't hire a new agent. I think there's a lot of great new agents out there. I'm just saying you need to know who you're hiring and what their experience level is, and if not, who's mentoring them, and what kind of support do they have on the back end from their brokerage. Moving on to question number 7, are you a full-time agent? This one is obviously pretty self-explanatory, but again, I don't think this is a catch-all. It's just something that you should ask. To be honest, I had another job my first few years in the industry, and at the last year I had my other full-time job. So I was working 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I still sold 40 homes that year as a part-time agent. So that was more than a lot of full-time agents sell in the HRM market. But the point is, I put the time in, and I put the effort in, and I put the hours in just like a full-time agent. I just had another job because I wasn't consistent enough in real estate until I got to that kind of 40 home mark a year. So again, this isn't a catch-all question. It's just important to know who you're hiring, and you want to get to know them, and this is something I would suggest asking. Moving on to question number 8, do you sell homes in my area? So this one, in my opinion, from a consumer perspective, is a bit of a myth that I'm going to kind of debunk right now. So I think there's a misconception that the agent must sell a bunch of homes in, say, the Halifax Peninsula if you're going to hire them to sell your home on the Halifax Peninsula. But really, it doesn't matter. It comes down to how much effort the agent's putting in to learn the area when they're listing it. So for example, if I'm listing a home in Lower Sackville where I grew up, or the west end of Halifax where I live now, I don't really need to ask the seller all the features of the neighborhood because I know them. I know the areas, I know all the different streets, I know the schools, I know the local businesses, and so on. However, if I'm going to list a home in Lake Echo, I don't really personally know that area very well. So if I'm sitting down with the seller, I'm asking them way more questions. What do you like about living here? What's the community like? What are the schools like? What's your top 5 things about why you live in this area, and so on. And that way I know I can sell the area when I get asked those questions from buyers. So we're almost to the end here. Question number 9. Will I be working with you directly or somebody on your team? So if you're hiring a team or a solo agent, there's pros and cons to both. And I actually made a video about this last week, which you can see up top here. But the point is, it doesn't really matter in terms of your success of the transaction per se, but it matters to your comfort level. Are you going to be working with this person directly, or the whole team, or somebody else on the team? And it's just something you should know so that you're comfortable moving forward before you sign the listing paperwork. So last but certainly not least, do you work with more buyers or do you work with more sellers? Again, there's no right or wrong answer to most of these questions, and this one also is the same. So you're going to get a lot of varying answers on this. So some realtors are more kind of 50-50 buyers and sellers. I'm about 2/3 sellers at this point in my career, and I actually refer a lot of buyers to my team, but that really depends on, what my workload's like, what their budget is, where they're looking for homes, and what all that looks like when I'm doing my initial consult with the buyer. So again, you just want to ask them, do you work with mostly buyers or sellers? Because if they work with almost all buyers, maybe they're not quite the right fit for you on the listing side, and vice versa. So it's just a question you should ask, but again, it's not a catch-all and it's not a deal killer by any means here. So there you have it. There's my 10 questions I would suggest asking a realtor before hiring them to sell your home. And if you start here, not only is it going to make your decision a lot easier, but it's going to make the process a lot smoother, and it's going to create a relationship with that agent, and it's going to just make the process so smooth, and you're going to be happier at the end of the day. I feel like in our industry, most people just hire somebody just because, and they don't ask any questions, and they don't ask any effective questions especially. So these 10 questions are really effective questions that are going to break down everything you need to know about this realtor and if they're the right fit for you. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope this puts some context into how to hire a listing agent. And if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments below. And if you like this content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more of my future videos, as I post videos every week about Halifax and buyer and seller tips. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have a great day.